Our egos love stories of someone getting, their wife leaves them, but then he turned it, my dad loves that story, but then he turned it into TV. Who's laughing now?
When we laugh, we pee in our pants, we lose control, you lose your breath, you turn red. So it's a very animalistic display. And he said, why don't we just say that was funny?
That's a good child. Raised her right.
Hello, hello. Hi. Thank you all for coming out tonight. It's just really great to see so many new and familiar faces. My name is Marcelle Hutchins. I am an associate, and that's my nephew. I am an associate producer for NPR's Here and Now, produced at WBUR, which is where we are. I know some of my colleagues are in the audience tonight, so thank you. I want to give a special shout out to my mother, Lucy Hutchins, my sister Danielle, and my baby nephew. They traveled all the way from Maine for tonight's event, so I'm thrilled that they could join us tonight. Woo. So why are we here tonight, you're asking? Well, we're here because I had this great idea to me and my ideas. I had this great idea to bring a conversation about diversity in the fashion industry. Not just racially diverse, we're talking gender fluid, sustainable, ethnic, cultural inspired fashion made by designers of color here in our city. Yes. And I'm thrilled to just share some of their work with you tonight. We're going to take this time now for just a brief Q&A. This will be the chance for me to introduce the designers, get a chance to understand their collection and experiences in the fashion industry. This will be about 15 minutes, and then we'll go right into the fashion show where you'll get the chance to see 50 looks over the course of the night. So I'm just going to start by introducing our first designer, Kim Pham. She is the founder of Kim's Fashion Design from Vietnam. We have here Reginald Chevalier. He is the founder of Chevalier Home. We have here the beautiful Nadra Ra. She is the founder of the House of Nadra. Next to Nadra, we have the lovely Melina Cortez Nimili. She is the founder of Lala B. And we have the beautiful Tanya Anderson. And she is the founder of Shakir Louise. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm going to take a seat. All right. So, ladies and Reggie. So, I just want to start off by having each one of you describe tonight's collection, what we can expect to see. I don't know who wants to go first, but Kim or, Reggie. Reggie, I know that you played around with some themes. There was Japanese at one point.
I guess I should use this.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. How are you guys doing? Yes. All right. So my collection, a lot of reoccurring themes for my collections are tech and different cultures. So for what you'll be seeing is a lot of apparel that is either has either been digitally rendered, has used I can't think right now. Under the mic.
I practiced.
I did not. I was too busy making clothing. Not. A lot of my clothes has like I use a lot of like tech, just because I want to kind of like push the aesthetic, the male aesthetic, and make it more futuristic. And I think mixing elegance with utilitarianism. That's probably not the right word, but yeah, exactly, it works. That's more or less my aesthetic. Yeah.
Who wants to go next? Nadra. I see you looking over here.
I was looking at it. Hey, everybody. Peace, peace. So my collection tonight stems from more Afro-futuristic kind of vibe, if you will. I love cultures. I'm Ethiopian, and I love many cultures, and I love creating and speaking through fabrics and colors and shapes and high vibrational energy. So that's a little bit about my collection. I'll let it speak for itself after that.
Melina?
Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here. So my collection actually is a mixture of collections, and it's to really promote the timeless design and the investment for women. So today you'll see dresses that I like, the one that I'm wearing, which is the one of the very first styles that I designed back in 2014 when I launched and did not sell one piece. But you'll see things from spring 2018, spring 2017, and you will hopefully see that everything flows very naturally together in terms of style, in terms of structure, in terms of how the clothes hang on the ladies. And so they're meant to really complement who we already are as women. They're not really never meant to make us or to make us feel better than what we should be feeling, at any time, any day. So that's hopefully what you get out of my collection tonight.
Tanya.
Hi. So my collection is called Rebel Woman, and it's really what I try to do is in every show I try to feature models, women of all influences, LGBTQ as well as other. And basically in my designs, you'll see that there are completely all different colors, all different designs on purpose, because what moves me is the woman in itself, her sex appeal. So I try to look at what is communicating to me, and I try to bring that out. So for every model, I want you to pay attention to the individual model, and you be the judge. But I felt that whatever I accentuated, whatever color I gave her, whatever ruffle or flower, it was intentional, because that's what I saw from her. Thank you.
And Kim.
Yes. Hi.
Hi, Kim.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Madam
Yeah, Kim.
Yeah. I grew up from my family. Yeah.
Kim is from Vietnam.
Yeah, in Vietnam, and I study fashion design in Vietnam too. But I went to US. Mm-hmm. I don't want to work for somebody. You believe I opened business 7 years. I want to build up my name, but no. Until 1990, Boston Club, they call me, they interview, you very famous. Every hotline, they want to interview you. And until 7 years, I make my name. And
your line. I know you've designed for Yo-Yo Ma.
Yes.
You do a lot of bridal designs. Is that right? Describe
and menswear.
Women's wear. Yes. Describe what we can kind of see. Is it a lot of like Asian, Chinese? Yes. Like, what's the collection for tonight?
We can do international country.
Okay.
Every country we do. Yeah.
Okay. So I know that some of you talked about combining your culture into your line, and Nadra, I'm going to pick on you for a minute there. I know you do like to mix a lot of your culture into your line. How does race and ethnicity influence your fashion line?
I would say culture
Okay.
really influences, not so much as race or what was the other one you said?
Well, just like culture, ethnicity. How does culture and ethnicity influence your fashion line?
You guys, my phone is ringing.
Oh no, girl.
So not okay. You guys, I'm like doing other stuff. So really culture and vibration really speaks to more of the essence of which I work with. Sometime a lot of times I have music on, but really I'm influenced by the energy that is flowing through me. It's the best way I can describe it. So sometime it'll be just about a lot of colors, and the colors have vibration on them. And some of you guys might be familiar with that. So you might see a lot of red and you start getting like energy to get up and like do something. You know, or you might have a soft pink and you just kind of feel like relaxing. So with mine, it's the combo of the energy that I focus on expressing with my designs.
And Melina, you're born in Dominican Republic. You've talked a little bit about how that has influenced your fashion line. Can you talk about that?
So more than anything, more than the Latin community or the Dominican Republic specifically influencing me, it's really how I grew up and the women that raised me. That really makes kind of who I am and what I stand for and what the name of my line means and all of that. So these were women who, I come from a very modest background from the countryside. A lot of my prints have to do with that. But in terms of the design, the women that raised me were women that did not have a lot. And in the Dominican, even when you don't have a lot, somehow you figure out how to be beautiful all the time. Like women just dress up to go to even to the store. Like you can't go outside of your house looking,
Looking average.
Right. So they're beautiful. And I think that they're beautiful because of their struggles, because they are self-made women, because my mom was the first one to go to college, so I think that their history makes them beautiful. So when I speak to my customer, that's kind of the woman that I'm designing for, regardless of where she comes from.
And Tanya, hi. I'd love to get a little bit more of your culture experience in terms of how it influences your designs.
That's a hard one for me because I'm not sure it does.
Okay.
But I think that I try to make sure that I show people that art speaks in many forms, and so I haven't made a collection for Islamic wear at all, if that's my culture. I'm from West Africa. So I think the colors, maybe like the bright colors, definitely. I'm from the Cape Verde Islands, and so as you know, the music, the food, everything is always hyper and alive. And so I think for that's how it influences it. But in terms of my religious practices, it doesn't. And I tried on purpose to show art on this platform, on this type of platform. And a lot of people, I think, have the question, why is she not covered, or her butt cheeks are showing, or something like that? And it's like, it's art.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And Reggie, I know you're born here in Boston to first generation Haitian American parents. Does that all influence your line in terms of what you envision?
I think my collections are more a celebration of different cultures. My brand is more cosmopolitan, so I definitely reference not only Black culture, but Asian culture and American culture, or even English culture sometimes. I think it's from who I am, I think I'm who I am, and I think who most people aren't as one-dimensional, and sometimes looking at something from the guise of race is kind of like a reduction on the rest of who you are, because your race is only one part of the diamond that makes you who you are, you know what I mean? So it's more less culture and how the different cultures meld together to make a human being and not just
Well said, my
art.
friend. Well said, my some of you are self-taught designers, but you've shown your work many fashion shows: New York Fashion Week, Miami, Dominican Republic, Rhode Island. I'd love to just hear how some of you learned your techniques, some of the challenges, and also advice you would give. Kim, I know your experience starts in Vietnam.
Yes.
You started learning fashion design?
Yes.
Yes. Can you talk about that? How your family helped you get into fashion?
You know, my family, everybody tailor. I don't know. I learned long time, but I went to US and I want do fashion design.
Here in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I learn every day. Now we in Copley Mall.
Mm-hmm.
We always do for inside the mall, Ferragamo, Saint Laurent, Hugo Boss, and I learn how they do. And they do very.
So
good
you
job.
watch others.
No, we authorization every shop inside the mall, and we tailor too.
In the mall.
Yeah.
At the Copley Mall.
Yeah, my shop now in Copley up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
the third floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Reggie, now I know that your background is what, social psychology?
Yes.
Talk about sort of how you learned your techniques and challenges and advice you would give to other up and coming designers.
Man. So I think I'll start with advice. I think anyone that wants to look and go into fashion and go into the retail end of fashion needs to understand their customer, their price point, and where they need to be in order to reach that market. For me, I was self-taught. I'm an artist at first of all, so I do a lot of graphic design work, which is how I got into doing the fashion design, because I learned how to do CAD designs, and then that let me reach out to the people that would be able to produce it, because I can't sew to save my life, like at all.
You have me convinced.
I mean, I didn't tell people. I mean, it's mine. I paid for it. It's my idea. But in terms of production, I don't do it. Kim does it, actually. So.
Nadra?
Okay. So I started designing as a little girl. I was 10 years old, and I used to cut my clothes up all the time. And my mama did not like it. But I had safety pins, and so I put them back together just in a different form. And that's really how I got started.
I love it.
His safety pins and hand sewing needles were my good friends. So, and fingernail polish. That's another story. You'll see some tonight. But besides that, that's really how I got started. I loved creating as a child, whether it was with paint or music or dance or food, but especially fabrics. Yeah. And as far as advice, I would say, you know, it's such a unique thing to have your own divine voice on the planet. And not just your verbal voice, but your creative voice. So whenever I'm teaching fashion design, I always tell my students, find your own divine voice and know that there's room for everybody. So create, and leave your mark on the planet.
I was just told I have 2 minutes, but I'd love to hear Melina and Tanya's response as well, too.
So I'll make it short. I have a background in business. My mom did not want to hear anything about design. So I had, I was taught to go to school, get my bachelor's, my master's, and I'm glad that I have that so I can run a business. But the design part came ever since I was a little girl. I wanted to do something. I wanted to own something. I did not know what it was, but I wanted to own, and this sounds horrible, be the boss of something as a little girl. Today I don't feel that way.
That's not horrible.
And so I used to buy clothes as an adult. I used to buy clothes, put them in a box, and ship them to the Dominican Republic to sell them. Wow. And then as I was sourcing and buying, I was like, wait, I could do this. And I don't like anything that I'm buying. And I am not finding anything for my business or for myself. So I started kind of designing for myself. And then I started networking. I took courses and things like that, and worked with a lot of people that have mentored me a lot. And most people, this is the advice, that have mentored me, the best ones have not charged me a dime. So there are people that are willing to help up-and-coming artists. So that's how I started.
That's great. Tanya?
So my background is also mental health, and a couple years ago I decided that I needed a break. So I opened a boutique. Then I needed a niche. So I think I went to Nather's sewing class, but I was late and I didn't have a machine. And so a few years later, I decided to actually buy a machine, which was just literally 2 years ago. And I started reading instructions and watching YouTube videos.
So no more question? One more question? No? One, okay. I actually really want to ask this question. The fashion industry is, slowly becoming more diverse. I actually saw in the New York Times that 2019 spring collection was the most racially diverse in New York Fashion Week history. So that's a pretty big deal. But it needs improvement, right? I mean, how does the fashion industry become more inclusive? I don't know who wants to answer this, but yes, girl.
Thank you. It starts with us.
Yes.
Just saying. It does. I choose my own models. I handpick each one of them, male and female, and the children. And I've had models come to me and say, oh, I'm not tall enough. I'm not light enough. I'm not full enough. I'm not slim enough. No, you're just enough. You're more than enough. So it really starts with us as designers, as people who are in the industry, no matter what level you are, even if you're just starting out, and you all as well, because we all have our voice.
Tanya?
So that's actually really close to my heart because so I started doing my own productions at the Strand Theater. It's called Blood and Fashion every year. So in March, if you ever want to try it, it's Blood and Fashion. It's well attended, over 1,400 people. It's amazing. But really, it's just a performing arts and theatrical production. I do a play, I direct it, and I write it. And what we wind up doing is just what Nather said. We wind up looking at exactly who we handpick everybody and make sure that we have LGBTQ. Do we have the white? Do we have black? Do we have Chinese? Do we have this? Do we have that? We make sure that it's diverse, but most importantly, that people understand where their talents are. So they may come in as a model, but maybe they're a dancer, or maybe they are good with acting. So I started to actually became a nonprofit to recruit young adults who want to go into the arts, who may not necessarily know what their talents are, but we will be helping them to figure it out.
One more person can answer. Who wants to answer? Who wants to answer this? One more person.
Well, for me, I think we become more diversified when we become more authentic and when we become more genuine. Personally, I have seen my business growing as I am able to let go. As I get older, I guess a little wiser, and as I let go of what everybody else wants me to do, and it's just kind of like, okay, I have 2 kids, I'm married, I have a house, I have a business. I'm at a point where I can probably do what feels right for me and not really care about what everybody else thinks. And I think when we are putting that message that works for us, we are connecting with our customer, who, at least for me, it's not everyone. We are creating that emotional bond with people, and then it's of course you need a sales force, but that message kind of sells itself. It's kind of like, here I am. If you like it, great. If we're connecting, then we're supposed to connect, and if we're not connecting, there's somebody else there for you, and there's somebody else there for me. Yes. So that's kind of how I see it.
Great responses. That said, we're going to get right into the fashion show itself. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy a good show.
of them come, enough of them fall, enough of them stumble. Your children on the rise in the struggle. Enough of them come, enough of them fall, enough of them stumble. Your children on the rise in the struggle. Kingdom shall rise, oh kingdom shall fall. Your children outstand them all. Truth it govern your heart, that's where it all starts. So keep on stepping with love in your walk. Enough of them come, enough of them fall, enough of them stumble. Your children on the rise in the struggle. Enough of them come, enough of them fall, enough of them stumble. Your children on the rise in the struggle. So long we've been here, holding the faith. Never forget we retreaded with grace. Your children arise, with light in their eyes. No matter what they say or criticize. Enough of them come, enough of them fall, enough of them stumble. Your children on the rise in the struggle. Enough of them come, enough of them fall, enough of them stumble. Your children on the rise in the struggle. Read it amongst the chapters of their history. Your children always hold the victory. Clean hearts and minds bestows its glory amongst who stand strong. Hold your heart with compassion and take charge of your destiny. Yeah. Enough of them come, enough of them fall, enough of them stumble. Your children on the rise in the struggle. Enough of them come, enough of them fall, enough of them stumble. Your children on the rise in the struggle.
I want to do a big round of applause for all our designers. A big round of applause for our band Jahriffe and his children. His children are out in the lobby. They're in their corner if you want to buy one of his CDs. And I think they have a T-shirt. Just go to the little ones. They're the shortest people in the lobby. They're selling stuff. And then the biggest round of applause for Marcelle Hutchins. This was her idea. She did all the work. She's incredibly organized. Thank you for coming to CitySpace. Please give us your email. We're going to do more fashion. We're doing Glam Slam on September 23rd to be the 25th anniversary of Fashion Week in Boston. We do all sorts of events. So give us your email where the band's going to play. We have food. Go get a drink. Thank you for coming.